Welcome back. It's Overwatch League. It is the Stage 4 playoffs, the last stage playoffs of the year. We got 4 teams left. London came through for us. They came through. They beat Philadelphia on map 4. They didn't get 4-0'd, so that means Philadelphia, they're out of the stage playoffs. They're in the overall playoffs, but out of the stage playoffs. Dallas is in. We have both of the LA teams. We got the New York Excelsior. We got the Dallas Fuel. This is awesome. This is my favorite stage playoff setup so far, by far. We're going to see lots of Torbjorn. You see him on my screen right there. We're not going to see lots of Torbjorn. But we will see lots of Los Angeles. It's the Gladiators. They picked the Valiant. The only team to beat them in this stage, they picked them. They've lost 3 out of 4 matches to them. They picked them. They want revenge. They want to retake the crown of the best Los Angeles team. And I truly believe that even if Gladiators win this, it will be 2 wins for Gladiators compared to 3 from the Valiant. This is the matchup to determine who is the best LA team. And whoever wins this will have bragging rights as the best LA team until the overall playoffs. And then we'll see what happens there. I will also briefly talk about the matchups. I won't talk about them, but I will say who's playing who in the overall playoffs. Actually, I'll just do that right now. So, it wrapped up. Houston and Dynasty both lost, and then the Fusion won anyway. So I guess in the end it didn't really matter. So Philadelphia Fusion, they're number 6. They will be playing number 3 Boston Uprising in the first round. That's gonna be a good one. And speaking of a good matchup, the number 4 LA Gladiators will be playing the number 5 London Spitfire. The rematch, once again, it's a grudge match. Can London finally beat LA? And then, obviously, the winners, the higher seed. So if Boston wins, they will automatically play Los Angeles. If the Spitfire and the Fusion both win, then the Spitfire will play Valiant. And then the other remaining team, the lower seed that's left, will play the New York Excelsior. And then, obviously, those two will match up to see who gets to go to the overall finals. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're focusing on the stage. It's the stage playoffs. Competing for $100,000. Second place gets $25,000. So this is awesome. We got a Battle of LA, and then we have the redemption story of the Fuel versus the number 1 team in the Excelsior. So first, we're going to talk about the maps, because this is, and you might be saying right now, okay, all right, Glenn, he's a Gladiators homer. He's going to pick the Gladiators. So when I thought about this matchup, I tried to take all the emotion I could out of it. I tried to really think about the matchups and what's going to go down. So, the maps. It's a bit different from the regular lineup, because there are 2 escort maps, and there's 5 maps. And then if they happen to tie on the assault map on the 2CP, and then they split the other 2, so it's 2-2. Then they go to a game 6, and then that's another control point. I believe it's still Nepal if they go to a tiebreaker, but going to a tiebreaker on these is not very likely. So we're going to go through all 5 of the maps. They're leading off with Watchpoint Gibraltar. Then second, they're going to Horizon Lunar Colony. Third, they take a trip to Lijiang Tower, followed by King's Row for the 4th game, and then wrapping up possibly on Dorado. And obviously, if either team wins the first 3, if the Valiant win Gibraltar, Horizon Lunar Colony, and Lijiang Tower, they will be victorious. They will move on. They will not have to play King's Row and Dorado. Same thing if somebody goes up 3-1 on King's Row. If they're up 2-1 and then they win King's Row, then it's done. They don't have to play on Dorado. So this is a huge matchup. Both teams that are 9-1, the 2 hottest teams in the league, I would say, right now. And the last time, we're going to talk about the last time that they matched up. They tied on Blizzard World in their first map, and then the Los Angeles Valiant took the last 3 maps to win the series 3-0. I think that outcome surprised a lot of people. I think people were leaning more towards the Gladiators. But yeah, the Valiant just outplayed them. And what it came down to for me, watching that match, Soon and Agilities just outperformed Surefour and Hydration just straight up. They just, wow. Did they outperforming them might be an understatement. They handled them really easily. Like Soon won the Widowmaker fight easily. He killed Surefour and then he destroyed the supports as Widow. Agilities was doing whatever he wants because when Soon is popping off, that creates a lot more space for Agilities, and Agilities goes absolutely nuts when that happens on the Pharah and or the Genji and or the Brigitte. And then speaking of space, he's been extremely good, as always, super consistent. So I think this one's going to come down to which DPS is outperforming the others. Because if Surefour and Hydration don't show up again, I mean, the Valiant will win. It's that obvious. But do I think that'll happen? Looking at it, they've been very good this stage. They've had very few off weeks. Hydration especially has been really, really good lately. Last couple weeks, he's really come into his own on the Brigitte. And honestly, I think Agilities is kind of weak on Brigitte, if I'm being totally honest. He a lot of times in fights when he's Brigitte, he's the first to die. It happens a lot. Like I've noticed it in across like 3 or 5 different matches that I've watched of them this season. So it's gonna be tough. It's also gonna come down to Custa and Big Goose. I mean, of course, like who's gonna survive longer on Mercy, because Big Goose I would say has definitely been the weakest part of the Gladiators. When they struggle, it's because he's out of position or he gets picked or he's not in a good position to heal Fissure and Fissure gets caught out and dies. So that is definitely like the weakest point. That's what you really have to focus on when you're playing the Gladiators. You need to focus on getting on Fissure and then using that to draw Big Goose out of position and then killing him. So that's the big thing. Then you wipe out the main tank, you wipe out the main support. And when a team loses their main support and their main tank, they cannot win a fight. They can't win a fight unless one of their DPSs literally gets a 4 or 5 kill with their ult, which is extremely unlikely in Overwatch League. So 98% of the time when you do that, you're going to win the fight. So, oh man, this is super tough for me. I think that the Gladiators on any given day are better than the Valiant, but the Valiant are so consistent. Also, another edge that I give the Valiant is there's 2 escort maps. There's usually only one, but there's 2, and that has generally been a weaker game type for the Gladiators, although Dorado and Watchpoint are 2 of their best escort maps, so that counteracts it a little bit. I honestly believe that game 1 is probably going to be the most important one, because Watchpoint could go either way. I believe the Valiant beat the Gladiators on it in stage 1, if I remember right. But the Gladiators beat the Valiant on it in stage 2. Did they play on it in stage 4? They might have. If they did, the Valiant won. I don't remember if they played on Watchpoint or Dorado. But I think if Gladiators win this one, then they're in really good shape to win the series. And vice versa. It's going to be a huge match, because game 2 on Horizon, I'd probably give the edge to the Valiant on that one. Horizon has been a bit weaker for Gladiators, especially attacking second point. They haven't been the greatest at doing that, but they are very good at defending it. So if Gladiators could get a great defense off and they only have to like take first point or something like that, then they're in really good shape. So that one's really back and forth. I like maps 3 and 4 for Gladiators a lot. So I think if Gladiators can win map 1 or 2, and if they go in 1-1, I think they're in pretty good shape. Even if they go 0-1, if Gladiators would lose, if they lose Watchpoint and tie on Horizon Lunar Colony, they're in pretty decent shape. Because Lijiang is great map for them. They should win that, and so is King's Row. But King's Row has also been good for Valiant. So when you look at like the numbers, when you look at the players, it's like it's a throw, it's a toss up. It's like 50-50. In the end, looking at it, because the Gladiators got destroyed in the stage playoffs by Boston last stage, because they lost their matchup a couple weeks ago to the Los Angeles Valiant, I believe that they're going to win this one. I'm going to say 3-1, but if they're 2-2 going into Dorado, I think Gladiators are in a bit of trouble. It's going to come down to Surefour. If he can beat Soon in that Widowmaker fight, this could go either way. So, I mean, anyone who says, I don't know how anyone could be confident picking for either of these teams. I really don't. I mean, maybe Valiant are like, oh man, we've beaten them 3 out of 4 times. We're super confident about this. Maybe that's what you go in with, but I don't know. These teams are very, very evenly matched in my eyes. It's going to be a great matchup, such a good matchup. I'm super excited for it. And I mean, whoever wins, it's not the end of the world because it is only the stage playoffs. It's not like it's the overall playoffs, but this should be a great preview and another great battle for LA. But in the end, I'm going to say Gladiators in a very close matchup. And then match 2 Dallas Fuel visiting the New York Excelsior. So I'm sure New York had to be thrilled when they heard that the Gladiators picked the Valiant because they lost to both of those teams earlier. They have not lost to the Dallas Fuel. Dallas has won 12 matches on the season. New York has won 34. So in most people's eyes, it's like, oh, New York wins this easily. They've been sandbagging all stage. Yeah, I mean, they have, but also have they been I don't know. It's hard for me. It's like, yes, they've been sandbagging in some sense. But is it real? I don't know. The New York has really puzzled me this stage. They have befuddled me, just to an extreme extent, because I believe they are sandbagging in that they are playing players on maps that they generally don't play on. They are playing players on heroes that they usually don't play as for their DPS, like their supports and their tanks. They've basically kept the same, but having Libero playing Tracer on some maps, taking CBOB out, they just haven't looked great with Pine in. If I'm being totally honest, even when like Pine pops off and has a really good game, the team doesn't look great in general. Their double snipers with Libero on Hanzo and Pine on Widowmaker is really unimpressive for me. So we'll see what they do. I mean, the way that Sabiobi's playing this stage, you can't bench him. I think when you bring in Pine, leave Sabiobi in. That's just the way I see it. Because then, like on some maps where you have to defend, you run Sabiobi on Junkrat, you run Pine on Widow. There you go. Is Sabiobi not quite as good as Libero at Junkrat? Probably not as good, but he can flex onto like Tracer or anything like that, and just really help you out. And I don't think you can leave Sabiobi out. He's been so good this stage. He's been so clutch when it matters. What is New York going to do? Are they going to go as hard as they can and counter Dallas? Because if they do counter Dallas directly, I mean they know how. It's like you have to play against their tanky-ish comps. You gotta prepare for the Brigida. So if New York takes this like 100% serious and like they're in full playoff mode, they should win. But will they? I don't know. It is the same map pool. It's the same maps in the same order. So Watch Point, Horizon Lunar Colony, Lijiang Tower, Kings Row, and then Dorado. Honestly, if Dallas gets to Kings Row, I think they can win that. It's going to be tough, though. New York did look a bit suspect on Horizon, so maybe that's the Dallas's chance. I'm going to hold this one super close. I'm going to say New York takes game 1, then Dallas takes 2, New York wins number 3, and then Dallas ties it up. But I want Dallas to win this. I just can't pick them. In my eyes, this will prove if New York really was sandbagging that whole time. If they come out and they like destroy Dallas and they look like really, really good, then we'll be like, okay, they're legit now. They're back. There aren't any issues. But there were issues this stage. There were breakdowns in communication. There were failed dives. There was stuff that you usually do not see from this team. So, again, I hope this matchup's going to be great. I think it will be good. I think Dallas is going to come out and play really well and at least keep it very close. I'm going to say New York wins this one 3-2, though. I cannot bring myself to pick the Fuel in this one. If Dallas wins this matchup, I could very well see them winning it all. I could see them beating Valiant or Gladiators, depending who wins, if they manage to beat Excelsior. And honestly, like, my first choice would be for having the Gladiators winning the stage, right? I want them to win the battle for LA, and then I want them to take down whoever they face in the finals, because it's like, oh, that's my team. But second best option for me is easily Dallas. if Gladiators beat Valiant and then Dallas beats them in the finals, I will not be that mad about it. Like that would be a cool story. A team that's had so many issues, so many just sad moments, just like bad stuff for the team. To win a stage, a feat that only the Spitfire and the New York Excelsior have done, that would be awesome. It really would be. So I guess I have to, because the winners will play each other. So if I am sticking with my picks, it's going to be Gladiators versus Excelsior again, and I don't remember if the maps will be the same again or if they switch it up for the title match. They're so hard for me. They're so hard. I'll say Gladiators. Screw it. If Gladiators play Excelsior, I say they win. Sure. In 5, super close matchup, back and forth either way. Gladiators will find a way to clutch it out. They've been a lot more clutch this stage after having issues in other stages. We're gonna really see with them because they've had one stage appearance before this and it was a very bad one. They were dumpstered by the Boston Uprising. So we'll see. I just honestly all I want from these stage playoffs is super close matchups in all of them. I want them to be close. I want them to be back and forth. I want people to be super hyped about it. I do want my team to come up on top, but if they don't, it's okay. These, if you're, I know it's Father's Day, so you've been doing stuff with our dads, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. But I would highly recommend watching these matchups. You know what I mean? You don't even have to watch them today. You can just go back and watch the VODs. I think they'll be really good. It won't be like last stage where both of the semifinals were just easy 3-0s. I think that these teams are going to be back and forth. How much time's left? 2.5 hours before they start. I just want them to start already. But yeah, that's about it. These are probably like the hardest matchups I've ever had to like look at and just try to predict. Like I went back and forth and I turned my wheels. It's like, yeah, New York should beat Dallas, but it's intangible stuff. And the LA teams, they're so even with each other. I don't know. It's just, all I know is it's been a great season of Overwatch League. The stage playoffs, this is it. I'll make a video. Yeah, I'll probably make a video tomorrow talking about the results and do a preview, do a little overview of the stage playoffs, and then once we get a lot nearer to the overall playoffs, I will start doing predictions on that. Like I said, I want to do my in-depth analysis of matches with like charts and graphs and blah blah blah, all that fun stuff. So hopefully you guys stick around and stay tuned for all that stuff in future weeks. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you in the video tomorrow.